All right, all right. Thank you, all you ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. Uh, it's your boy Dark. We have a celebrity here, by the way, the Safety Doc podcast. Make sure all you guys go sub to the Safety Doc podcast. This guy's a real pro. I'm just one of the little guys. So we have a really, really cool show coming up tonight, this evening. We have Swamp Fox Optics. So this is going to be good. I hope you all are ready for a super dope show. What's up, Montana? Man Against the Masses, Dirt McGirt, Aegis. Hey, I got a here. Aegis, I got a little package today. A little shout out. I'm super excited about this. Cannot wait. I've never been excited to clean my guns. So more on that later. But yeah, go ahead and sub to the Safety Doc podcast and get ready for a super dope show. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you all to the inventor of Swamp. I'm just kidding. To to Swamp Fox Mike. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, dude.
Good evening, everybody.
Pleasure to have you on, man. This has been a few weeks in the making now. Actually got introduced to you by Swamp Dog, who,
Yeah.
funny enough, is here with us right now. So, what's up, brother? How's it going? But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself to the kind folks in the audience and let them know who you are and what you do and all
Hey
that
guys.
stuff.
My YouTube handle is Swamp Fox Mike. I'm Mike Branson. Welcome to my bedroom. I had everything set up in the living room, like a nicer background, and then my laptop was like, "Hey, you know what? It's a really good time to install Windows updates for like a half hour."
Of
So
course.
so here I am back on the PC, with the bedroom box now. So officially, I am product marketing director for Swamp Fox Optics. I have been with Swamp Fox since February of 2019, I want to say. So the company's been around since 2018, so they're in year 4. They started shipping their first optics in fall of 2018, and then I joined in the winter in the beginning of 2019. So been with them almost since the very beginning, and yeah, so I'm the marketing dude. I make YouTube videos. I also am lucky enough that I get to help with product development. So I get to play with all the cool prototypes, and sometimes I get to help configure things. So if you guys have
Excellent.
questions about, hey, how come Swamp Fox does it this way instead of that way, I'm the guy to ask because I know all of those frustrations about how, gee, I wish we could make it this way, but we got to make it that way. You know?
Yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, I gotta say I've been impressed with Swamp Fox. I remember the first moment that I saw a Swamp Fox. It was the RMR cut. It was the Kingslayer, and I was searching through all of these optics. I'm looking at the normal gambit of stuff, and then I randomly come across. I think it was on eBay, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "I never heard of this." Then I start calling around and talking to some people, and Toxic Patch Co., which I think I saw you. What's up, Justin? Toxic Patch Co., which Zach Carr makes. All of our patch. We have like a small community of channels, like everyone from CRS Firearms to John Crump to 2AEDU, and like all of us kind of support each other. And he makes like all of our patches. And talk to him. He's got a Kingslayer on his Glock. Another one, one of the guys in our community, Goy, that I did a quick little live on prior to this. he has a Swamp Fox too, and kind of started looking into it, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That was like your debut item, right?
Yeah, yeah. They started out. They had the Liberator, which is just your basic T1 style microdot. They
That's
had
right.
that in the fall of 2018, and then Kingslayer came out in 2019. And like honestly, from where I'm sitting right now, um, the crazy thing is how fast it's all gone. Oh, I know, release the Kraken. I know, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it.
So
Um,
I need to know what that's about when we get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Oh, I have one. I have one in the house right now. I'm not showing it to you guys because I destroyed it in testing. So I'm
Uh,
not going to show you guys the destroyed Kraken, but I do have one.
did you
Um,
mean to destroy it though? It was like on
no,
purpose.
I tested it to failure.
Nice.
I knew at some point probably something was gonna let loose if I kept doing what I was doing, and then it let loose. But the cool thing was that it let loose in a way that we had already accounted for and already fixed.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
like tangent time, but we do when we do prototype stuff, we do they call it pre-production samples, and I call them alpha, beta, and Charlie prototypes. We haven't ever gotten past Charlie. Usually by the third time, we've got it pretty much figured out, right? And Kraken is in Charlie prototype status right now. The one that's busted is an alpha prototype. So it's like
Okay.
hand put together. We super glued this thing together, and we took a piece from our kids erector set and we screwed it in there. Um, like they're just like proof of concept is the alphas, right? Like,
Yeah.
will this work? Is there some problem with the math? Is there some basic problem that we need to address, right? And then you start refining it, right? In beta and Charlie. So the way that my Kraken broke was was a way that had already been fixed in the beta prototype, but I was still shooting the alpha prototype just to like see how far it would go before it gave up. So so that's a good thing.
I
Like,
like the fact that you're actually intentional. Like you guys are building it with the purpose of like knowing that it's going to break at some point. Like we had this conversation on way back when the whole stuff with the RN50 happened. We started talking about how most firearms and things are actually designed to fail in a way, meaning that like, so let's say a firearm blows up, right? There's an out of battery,
right.
detonation, something blows up. They planned for, okay, what will happen? Where will the bolt go? Hopefully not like in your head or face. They know what's going to happen when it fails. So when you do that, you can kind of design something to have certain weak points or stress points to fail the way that you want it to, as opposed to some catastrophic way. And the
Right.
BRN50 did not have another way to.
Yeah.
It's only. Um, but yeah, sorry. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, we it's funny because we have a lot of people that will, they'll email us, we get cold emails or we get messages on, Facebook and Instagram, and they're like, "Hey man, I shoot a lot. Will you send me one for testing and evaluation?" And I'm like, "Sorry, man, all of our prototypes are already busted. We're waiting for the next ones to come in so we can break them too. Like, we don't have any to spare to
Yeah,
send to some rando Calrissian on the internet that wants to play with one of our prototypes. We broke them all already."
yeah. That is oddly satisfying though. Like when you make something or build something, like I've done builds where I'm like, okay, I really want to push a polymer 80. I want to see like how far I can go.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you're going to beat the piss out of something is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, sometimes the failure points are frustratingly, they're frustrating, and you're like, man, I wish we could fix that, and then you try to figure out a way to at least mitigate it, make it not as bad, but it's still going to break in the same place as before, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But at least like at least we're testing our own stuff and we're developing our own stuff, which is a hell of a lot of fun. That's really a very very fun part of the job for me. I really get a kick out of that. And
yeah. That's got to be really cool.
we're not just a rebranding operation, which is something that with Swamp Fox's reputation we built in the last couple of years. It's not the issue that it once was, but when we first came out and nobody knew who the hell we were, lots of people just assumed that this was the same stuff you could get from Vortex or Burris or whatever last year. And we just, we bought like a production overrun from the factory. We slapped our name on the side of it and said, oh, hey, we're Swamp Fox. A lot of people assume that, oh, it's all made in the same place anyway,
I did at first, actually.
Yeah,
I
lots
just
of
figured it
people.
was.
So I spent a lot of time, made a lot of podcast appearances, and spent a lot of time at SHOT Show and stuff, like trying to explain to people that no, we really do develop our own stuff, and it's developed in Denver, and we've got real shooters that are talking about real shooter problems and trying to solve the problems that real shooters have with our stuff, and we're not just like slapping our name on something you could have bought last year. And the product development part is, it can be really frustrating, but it's also super rewarding. And you were talking about, to swing it back to Kingslayer, like when I look at Kingslayer now in 2021, knocking on 2022, I'm like, man, we've come a long way. Like the battery life on it isn't really that great. It doesn't have Shake Awake, which I mean, all of our stuff has got Shake Awake now, but at the time, in the spring of 2019, just the fact that you could buy one of these little pistol cut red dots for like $200 street price, and it would hold zero at all, was like an accomplishment. Like, oh my god, it doesn't break, it holds zero. That was a big deal back then.
And it's
look how far we've come just from 2019 to 2022. Like the expectations are so much higher than they were.
Yeah, it's like light years. I mean, you guys have come out with the Liberty, the Sentinel, the Justice, the all sorts of stuff. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about any of the other stuff.
we developed Shake and Wake. The first one to have it was this little guy.
Oh, and the scopes. Sentinel. You guys got a shitload of scopes too.
Yep. Sentinel. This is the manual here. So this guy has a Shake and Wake is a tilt switch. I like how you can see my hamper. Hey guys, got laundry going on.
Yeah, right. He is human, guys. He is human.
Yeah. So this little guy, you set him down and you leave him alone for 4 minutes and the dot shuts off. You pick him up, the dot turns back on. It's a tilt switch. Super simple, super rugged, very proven technology.
Nice.
This was the first optic that we developed with that. Well, now, speaking of prototype stuff, you guys want to see something cool?
Hell yeah. Ooh.
That is beta prototype Warhorse. This is a first focal plane 1 to 10.
Wow.
And I will say here, for the first time ever, when this sucker comes out, we'll have Shake Awake and an LPVO.
Oh, hell
so you put
yeah.
this, you put this in the gun safe. It should be like this, right? Mounted on your AR. You put it in the gun safe. 4 minutes later, it turns off. Something goes bump in the night. You yank your rifle out. Reticle's on. Done. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be. It's super easy. It should be in everything. But we didn't even have that. When Kingslayer was done.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like it's neat. It's neat to see little bits of technology that we picked up. From we developed it for this, or we developed it for that, or we bought it for this, or we bought it for that. And we started out in this, and then it's going to wind up in this.
Yeah, that's super cool. I always was a little I don't know, I'm kind of old school. Like, even though I'm like a kid, a lot of people call me a boomer.
Yeah, I'm like a junior boomer.
Yeah.
I own a Harley. I've got a big Harley Road Glide. I got a white beard, so I'm junior boomer status. Yeah.
Montana just says want. Me want.
This one is not ready yet. It's good, but it's not good enough. The ones we're gonna have by SHOT Show next year are gonna be, those are the Charlie prototypes. They're gonna have the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So if everything goes to plan, apparently there's a pandemic on that's kind of screwing everything up. So
I heard something about that.
Yeah. So
yeah,
but if everything goes to plan, we'll have these ready to really show off at SHOT Show.
Dude, I was blown away that, like, I always look on other sites for stuff, right? And I was just kind of looking for Kingslayers, and sometimes, and that's just because that's all I knew of for Swamp Fox at the time. And then like one day I saw like the Justice, and which one is cut for the like micro carry? Is that the
So Sentinel here is RMSC. I mean,
that's
he's
right?
tiny. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy, it's only 16 millimeters by 16 millimeters window.
yeah.
Oddly enough, does this look tiny to everybody else? 16 millimeters, right? You know
It
what else is a
doesn't.
16 by 16? Aim point acro. The same window
Ah,
as an aim point acro in terms
nice.
of actual dimensions. I didn't think the acro was that small, but it is. It just looks bigger because it's got a bulkier body.
So
Um,
16.
16 by 16 is Sentinel, and then Liberty is 22 millimeters wide. That's the RMR footprint, and Justice is 27 millimeters wide. It kind of necks up. I don't have one of those that's not on a firearm. Otherwise, I'd hold
That's
one up for you.
that's this big. My light won't show it, but I mean that's
Yep,
like
16.
so you guys will see. That's I mean that's small, y'all. That's but I've looked through one of those and they're freaking crisp. You don't feel like you are looking through something super tiny because typically it's on like a Glock 43X, a Glock 43, some type of micro, or a Sig 365 or something like that. Um, but I was honest, I was blown away when I started looking through. Actually went to y'all's site and I started seeing all this glass. I'm like, what the hell? What are you
Yeah.
talking about with glass? So I
Yeah.
thought that was cool too. Is that kind of what you guys are focusing on now mostly, or do you have new like red dot ish stuff coming out?
So I'm trying to build a reputation as being kind of the honest guy that tells it like it is, and I'm
Mhm.
fortunate that I get to do that. Very
Yeah,
fortunate that I get to do that. I don't have to just sell you guys a line of crap tonight. I can just be me.
yeah.
So I can tell you guys what's going on. Sure. So here's how it went. So last year in 2020, we were hoping to like really expand. Things were looking good. You know, we had big plans, right?
Hmm.
And then the pandemic hit, and like you've seen on in the news with like plywood costs are going up and weird stuff is out of stock, um,
Yeah.
Ford's parking a bunch of trucks in a farmer's field and they can't get microchips to run them. Yeah, the Montana, the Kraken is the closed emitter. It's the closed
Oh,
emitter micro red dot. um,
nice.
so so anyway, when the pandemic hit, we had to make some hard decisions about what we were going to do. And so we decided to basically throw all of our eggs into the basket of pistol dots. It's the hot new thing. Everybody wants to put dots on pistols.
Yep.
And it was their pistol dots are easy to make and the quality control on them is relatively easy. I mean, think about, this is kind of a ridiculous comparison, but it's real, right? How much glass is in this? How much aluminum is this? And how much wiring and other like small parts are in this, right? Little Sentinel, right?
Yeah.
Compared to 5 by 25 Warhawk,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
how much aluminum, how much glass, how much wiring, how you've got these target turrets that are really cool but they're really complicated and you have to make them the same way every time and they're hard to quality control so we can make a whole bunch of these and have some product in stock at all times and be making people happy saying, hey, we got pistol dots in stock and we're still in business, as opposed to a lot of other like startup small optics companies that were just blown out of the water and they're like, sorry guys, our lead time is 10 weeks, we can't get anything made, right?
Yeah.
So we put all of this stuff, the really big stuff, on the back burner. Said, okay, we can't build it right now.
Hmm.
So in 2021, we were going to try to bring these back. We wanted to have 5 to 25 Warhawks back in stock in the summer, and it just hasn't happened. And we're like, come on, we got to get these things
Yeah.
built and get them back into stock because it's a really good scope, and almost no one knows how good it is because we just like I know how good it is because I get to play with the handful of them that we got made.
Yeah.
But in the world of shooters out there, nobody knows that there's this Swamp Fox scope called the Warhawk that is amazing for what you pay,
Yeah.
which is really frustrating for me, right? It's like, oh my God. So
Yeah. What
the
is the
first thing is to
cost
get the
on that?
precision scopes back into stock and then start releasing. We want to release the Kraken. So we have a new pistol dot that's crazy tough. Pardon me. Crazy tough pistol dot. And then the Warhorse, the first focal plane LPVO. If we get it the way that we want it, if it's right, it's going to be crazy good for the money, guys. It's going to be expensive for a Swamp Fox. You know, the Arrowhead. Here's my Arrowhead. This is a 1-10.
That's nice.
These are all over the place right now. These are really carrying the brand name. This is really what's like making our brand name as good as it is right now. It's just 1-10, $550 MSRP. Get a coupon code. Wait for a sale. Black Friday. They're going to be much more affordable than $550, and it's a heck of a good scope for that.
Yeah.
The first focal plane version, the Warhorse, is going to be maybe $1,000 MSRP. I mean, it's going to be pricey, a lot more than the Arrowhead, but it's going to be worth it. It better be worth it, or else we're not going to release it. We're not going to release it and mass produce them until they're worth the money.
Yeah.
And it's, man, when you're doing ambitious stuff like that, it's daunting. It's scary sometimes, you know, like I don't want every YouTube reviewer to go, well, yeah, I sure like the new one, but you might as well just spend $500 on the old one and it does the same thing. You know, why, right? What are you going to do when that happens?
Yeah. No, that's true. So you guys have a pretty significant lineup of glass for the amount of time that you guys have been.
Yeah, we've been crazy aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, it had to have been like a matter of months. And then I went on your website and it was just like all these scopes. Now, I will say, admittedly, like I'm not too much of a scope guy. I'm like probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, just started throwing like optics on stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to try. Even though I've shot a bunch of your stuff, I don't own anything Swamp Fox, so I'm definitely going to throw. I still want a Kingslayer, but I am tempted to go with the larger. Which one is
Justice, the big window?
Justice, yeah, that one's nice, and it looks durable as hell. Even the Kingslayer is rated up to like 800 Gs or something like that.
More than that. They yeah, you know, it's really interesting, the fixture that we use to pound those things. I wish I could show you guys a picture of it. I'm not allowed to, but there's it's pneumatic. It's built on air pressure, and it's got like it's like a bar with a weight on it, and you attach the optic to the little Picatinny rail that's on the weight, and there's like imagine like a hose fitting to it, and compressed air goes to the hose, and it rams it, pushes it, and then you can, you know, if you know what the mass is, then you can calculate how hard it hits, and then you just put a spring on it, right? So it returns back. Kind of like an AK bolt carrier group. It gets pushed, and then the spring moves it back, right?
Yeah.
And then it hits the little fitting again, and it goes again. So, you know, you can use a pressure regulator to regulate how hard it's hitting, and turn it on and just leave it like, hey, we'll go to lunch and we'll do 500 hits at 1500 Gs, and then see what breaks when we come back from lunch.
Damn.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool. It's really neat. So it's neat how you can measure out G-force and stuff. But then the crazy thing is that doing it in one axis is not enough. We're working on because you have guys two things. You have guys like air rifle guys that get reverse recoil on air rifles, and they kill scopes.
Yeah,
right.
Very different.
The scope's designed that, you know, when I shoot my rifle, bang, it recoils this way, right? And so a lot in the old days, a lot of scope manufacturers they'd build their scope to take recoil force in one direction, and then you'd have a gun like a SCAR or an FAL. I got an FAL that I love, even though I hate feeding it now with 7.62 being so expensive. But my
Yeah.
FAL, those things are a scope killer. It's this big, heavy bolt carrier group, and the bolt carrier group slams forward, right?
Yeah.
And that forward slamming of it will kill your scope over time. Well,
Yeah.
we have another project that we're working on is called Green Dragon, and it is dedicated high recoil, 50 cal, 338 Lapua, all the really crazy like belted magnums,
Yeah.
and 50 BMG, because a 50 BMG will kill this scope
Mhm.
eventually. It won't make it to the warranty. We got a 50,000 round guarantee on everything, right? If it doesn't last 50,000 rounds, you email us, we get you another one.
Yeah.
This will die on like a Barrett 50 cal, right? So
Mhm.
we're doing Green Dragon is going to be our dedicated high recoil Billy Badass Hubble Space Telescope on your Barrett scope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be giant. The prototype's a 5 to 40.
Damn.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that with a 50 cal, you have to shock harden it in multiple axes, because if you actually see what a 50 cal does when it shoots, the receiver like freaking wiggles and it twists,
I've noticed that in
all
like
these
the
like
slow frame.
torsional forces and stuff, and it'll
Yeah.
break the snot out of scopes. So so
Damn.
we have to figure out ways to like, A, you have to simulate it for purposes of research and development, and then B, at some point you find somebody that's willing to throw down 1,000 rounds of 50 through your prototype scope and be like, let us know what breaks, dude.
Yeah. Dude,
If
I mean,
anybody out there
it's,
wants to throw down 1,000 rounds of 50 BMG to test a prototype Swamp Fox, hit me up.
I mean, my
It could
buddy's
be
got
you.
a 50 and a 338, but man, 1,000 rounds, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know. I want a 338, but they're chambered for $10 bills now.
Yeah, I know, right? Basically, the
Yeah.
crazy thing is though, I've never heard. I've spoken. So I used to work in the industry, and I've spoken with most manufacturers like prior to all this world of YouTube and stuff. Um, I have never had someone from the optics world talk about what you just discussed with like the fact that air rifles have a completely different
Oh
and
yeah.
they need a very different type of scope, and that's why dudes will throw a regular scope on an air rifle and then kill it like that, or throw an air rifle scope on a firearm, which that's a whole nother thing. Probably deserve that. But really quickly, Zach Carr with a super chat, thank you, sir. He
Oh,
says, love my Kingslayer. He has a Kingslayer on a 19, on a beautiful Glock 19,
thanks,
and
man.
he's got the green donut. Is it a 32 MOA circle?
No, it's way bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. It's like I used to have it memorized. It's like 45 MOA, or
Oh,
maybe
damn.
even bigger. It's really big, and we did that on purpose.
And then like a
So
1 or 2 MOA dot.
it's a 3 MOA dot in the middle, and I think like 45 MOA around it.
Dang,
So
I'm
it's a
messing it all up.
big circle dot.
Yeah,
I like it.
and you guys have it in green and red. His is green, and he actually just showed. Last night we were on an Instagram live, and he showed his off, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going on with him tomorrow."
Yeah, that's it's funny. You actually hit on one of my favorite memories from when I first started with the company. One of the things that I love about us, it's almost terrifying sometimes, but it's also crazy fun, is how lean we are and how fast we make decisions.
Mhm.
I've worked with other companies in the past that had a lot more. They had a lot more oversight. They had a lot more middle
Yes,
management. There was a lot more like layers of personnel between the grunts at the bottom and then like the muckety muck CEO guys at the top, right?
a lot of bureaucratic
And
red
there was
tape.
nothing happened fast, and it was always like a giant pain to get anything done.
Yeah,
And I remember I was actually sitting in this chair right where I am right now, and I was on the phone with the CEO, and we were talking about Kingslayer and what we wanted to do, and he was like, "Hey, they say that we can get some green emitters. You think anybody will want green ones?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I like them. Like, I think it would be cool. You want to try it out?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Try out green. We'll see if anybody buys them. And that's the cool thing when you're small and you're a startup and you're just starting, you can be really aggressive and you're making such small batches anyway, right?
Yeah.
You can just try stuff and see what happens. And we made like 100 of them. Like who knows? Maybe they'll sell, maybe they won't. But if they don't sell, we made 100 unit mistake, right?
Yeah.
It turns out people love them. Now everybody's going with green. We invested very heavily in second generation green emitters for the Liberty and Justice, and the Kraken's going to have green, and those have really good battery life, better battery life than the Kingslayer, and they cost a fortune to invest in. But now the demand is there. Everybody wants a green dot. But back then we made that decision in like a 15-minute phone conversation. Just let's try it. Let's buy green ones and see if anybody wants to buy them.
That's
And
awesome.
like that whole attitude of just like trying stuff and going out there and taking a risk. I love that about us. I hope we never change that. I hope we never change that. I never
mean,
want it to be like, oh, let's have our 5th committee meeting about this month, and then we'll put it to a vote. I mean,
we're considering green. If all of you will look here,
yeah,
you'll see it in the oh my god,
and
man.
another PowerPoint presentation. I mean, I just like how freaking aggressive we are with it.
I mean, it's cool that like likely one day you'll be sitting back saying like, man, like I was there in the beginning building stages,
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get like too crazy, but I mean, you gotta love being with a company of that size, and you guys are putting out some good shit. I mean, I've been impressed, and I still have not made a decision on what RMR cut optic I'm gonna run, but yeah, I mean, I've been telling our folks that it's going to be Swamp Fox. I just don't know, what I'm going to run. But
here's how I look at that. So I always work it backwards. So I always do, what kind of shooting do you want to do first? And then based on what kind of shooting you want to do, then you figure out what products, not just optics, but freaking everything.
Yeah.
What products are going to help me do that kind of shooting the best, right? So we get a lot of guys, oh God, there's so many newbies right now that are on the internet and they're like watching some YouTube videos and they think they know something and they're trying to do their research and they're trying so hard, but they just don't know what they don't know. And they, pardon me, they ask these questions like, what's your best scope for an AR-15? And I'm like, hold your horses. What are you going to do with your AR-15? Because I've got a 24-inch barreled, heavy barrel, 224 Valkyrie precision build, and then I've got a 7.5-inch pistol build. That's very different scopes, very different kinds of shooting, right? So on your question, I always say if you want to hide it, if you were trying to conceal it, simulated annealing, nice. Thanks, Safety Doc.
He's got a hell of a show too, man. He's really cool. Sorry, sometimes it can be distracting.
No, I like it though. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to hide it, go with the smaller window. It's easier to conceal. And where do you carry? Do you carry appendix or do you carry boomer? What do you do?
Yeah, so boomer. So usually I carry appendix like during the week, but on the weekend I may throw something at like 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Okay.
In the appendix I usually carry a 43X. So I would need. This isn't set up for a dot yet. The guys at JSD Supply I know really well. I may get a 43 slide that's cut for like the RMSC. I think it is. But I would probably, I could still carry a 19 appendix. I just find it a little bit more comfortable carrying it like 3:30, 4 o'clock boomer style.
Well, if you're carrying appendix, then I say if you're trying to hide it, go with the regular size window.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're not trying to hide it and it's like a competition gun, range queen, class gun, and like you're not actually trying to everyday carry the thing, then you might as well go with a big window.
Yeah,
and the same thing on like 45-degree offset mounts on ARs and stuff. I always get the biggest window I can because I'm not trying to hide it. So I might as well have the biggest window and the fastest acquisition I can come up with. So I always use the big window on like a 45-degree offset. I have my carry gun right here. Gee whiz. I can't pick it up and show it to you.
Yeah, I know, right? This world that we live in.
Yeah.
What are you running on? Well, what is your
Pardon me.
Kraken?
I'm old school and out of the times. I'm actually carrying a Glock 26.
Nice.
It's a G26.
It's still a
I cut
great gun.
the frame myself, so the frame is undercut. I've got a virus, not the virus, but a virus that I'm getting over with. I kind of beat it over the weekend, so
Here, I'll put a mask on.
yeah, right.
First.
Um, so I cut the frame myself. Just dremeled it and stippled it with the $8 wood burning kit from Harbor Freight because I'm a redneck, right? You can take the boy out of Missouri. Yeah, exactly. Right?
I'm the same. I even picked up and started experimenting with the engraving bit as well.
Nice.
You can't see it here, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm the same way.
It's like a Zen thing, right?
Yeah.
So that gets my hand a little bit higher on it on the 26.
Yeah.
And then I found with my gun, the Magpul mags are reliable enough to carry, to actually trust with my life.
Yeah.
So that gives me 12 plus 1 instead of the factory 10 plus 1. So I've got 13 rounds of 9mm, and it still hides a little bit better than a 19, but it shoots pretty much like a 19.
Yeah.
In terms of recoil control, my split times and all that stuff, it's pretty much a draw with a split with a 19, but it hides a little bit easier. So I have a Liberty on it, and I have the iron sides. The iron sides, for those who don't know, this is the iron side shield, and this one goes to the Sentinel. It's stainless steel, and it surrounds the optic but does not touch it. You can see little holes there where the screws, right?
Yeah,
so this basically goes onto the footprint. Yeah, this goes onto the footprint of the slide. It's gonna sit like that, and see how that's gonna go in there, like so.
Yeah.
So this is like a bumper, like a chrome bumper on your truck. So you can use this to help you out with drops, with abrasions, barricade racking. My name's Aaron Cowan, and I hate fence posts. And I'm fence post racking it all the time. Right. So it helps with all that kind of stuff. And what it does is that it routes all your shock forces around the optic and to the footprint. So the more you beat this up, you're actually not beating up the optic at all. You're beating up your slide, really. And eventually what happens is, we talked about failure points earlier. You transfer your failure point to where eventually, if you whack it hard enough, the screws let loose and the whole damn thing flies off. The screws bust, and then you have to get the broken chunks of screw drilled out. But the optic survived, right?
Nice.
So,
that's awesome.
So I say these are like a bumper on your truck. Now, if I got into a car crash, I would replace the bumper on my truck. I would replace the bumper on my truck before I got into another crash.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, the YouTube torture test guys kind of screw you, because they're going to drop it on the rock in the backyard, onto that brick in the backyard 6 times in a row. And eventually this thing's going to deform enough. It's going to touch the optic. The shock force is going to transfer into the optic. It's going to crack the glass. And then they're going to go, oh, it's cracked the glass. It's not good enough. Fine, whatever. And that's the game they play. And that's what their customers and their fan base wants to see. I've seen guys online saying, well, I won't buy an Aimpoint Acro because it broke in drop testing. Oh, I guess Aimpoint sucks then. I don't know what to tell you.
Actually, I will say Aimpoint is, to date, the only optic that I have broken, and the only optics that I have that are all running right now is PA. And I know, yeah. We don't need to go there, but
yeah, no, it happens.
It is old school, and it's a Comp M4, and I probably got damn near $1,000 in it, because I got that thing when it was like brand spanking new, and I got ARMS throw lever. Yeah, that was back when red dots were just like rich people stuff.
That's one of the things that I'm happy about with the job that I have, is that I remember those days that you either had like $600-700 aim point, you had a $500 EOTech, and then you had like trash tier eBay junk that was in
Yeah.
the $200 range, and you bought it and you knew it was going to break, and you just went, you know, and there was no customer service. If you know, woo, spicy, too soon.
Super spicy. Zach.
Woo!
Thank you for the super chat and a channel
Yeah,
member. I appreciate all you guys.
we'll leave our opinions to ourselves on that, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
super
bad
spicy.
situation.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'd say the right guy walked away. I'll just put
So I actually, and we don't need to go down this road because I know you're kind of on the clock. You know, I actually don't know how it ended because I had to walk away from it and it got wrapped up in life. So I don't know what happened. Oh, you mean the incident? So I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the case because the case was live streamed today. Yeah, gotcha. Moving along. So you were saying all the guys like they drop it on freaking rocks and literally from chest height just drop it. For me, man, if I get something like, look, to know that in an event that I could beat it up, drop it, pick it up, and still run it, like cool. If it's dead, then I'll just look through the glass and use the irons. But like, I'm probably gonna treat it, you know, moderate to good, and just put it in my pants and take it shooting, and like that's it. You know,
yeah.
I think smashing shit up all the time is, yeah, at times when you're doing like true T&E and you're doing true like, yeah, he didn't have an aim point on. He had a sight mark, fake me out, EOTech. When you're doing like true T&E, like we talked about, like I built a Polymer 80 that I was like, you know what? I am going to beat the piss out of this until I like destroy it. And I actually couldn't destroy it. And I just painted it battle worn and called it a day. But
Nice.
there's a level of like satisfaction with beating the crap out of stuff. But I don't know. When I get, you know, something like that, I'm going to want to keep it nice and reserve the damage until one bad day happens that I need to trust it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Some of the guys that we've got, some of the guys that we have, how do I say this? So we're a value based brand. And a lot of times value is like a bad word to people now because you think, you know, Walmart is, you know, value, right?
As
So
if cheap and
yeah.
value were the same. Yeah.
So here's how I like to say it. So you basically you've got three customers in the US. There's three guys. There's the guy who brags about how little he paid for something. There's the guy who brags about how much he paid for something. And there's the guy who doesn't care. He just wants the most performance for every dollar that he spends. We're the third guy. I'm the third guy. I don't brag about how much I spent on my Harley, but I got a good deal on it. I'm happy that I paid what I paid for what I got. Right?
Yeah.
It's a, you know, Harley's a good brand. I think I like my bike, but I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, I got $50,000 wrapped up in my Harley. I'm not that guy. I'm also not the guy that's like, oh yeah, I spent $3,000 on this because I got it from a guy getting a divorce. You know, I'm not that guy either. I just want to get a good deal, right? And that's where we are. We just want to get people like the best deal for the money that we possibly can. So it's funny how I talk to customers all the time, and some of our customers have crazy expensive scopes. They have really expensive stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted you to know, you know, your Arrowhead's comparing really well to my my other 1-10, which is, you know, a Vortex Gen 3 1-10, $2,000 scope. You know, I really like it." And I'm like, glad to hear that. You know, I mean, obviously it's not as good as the Vortex. The Razor is an excellent scope, and it's worth $2,000. Ours is $500. What's going on? Why are you shooting, ours and theirs at the same time? And the answer is a lot of guys will have like one go-to AR that's like decked out with everything, spared no expense. It's like a $10,000 build, and that's their one, like, end of the world, the Martians are attacking AR, right? But then they
Yeah.
got 5 other builds, and they're not going to spend all that on the rest of them. But what
Yeah.
I keep hearing
But
that I
make
think
them
is,
similar.
yeah, they want, if this one's got a 1 to 10, I also want a 1 to 10 on the cheap one, right? But what I keep hearing, which I think is hilarious and fun, is they put Arrowhead on the beater gun, that they're actually out there running around doing like tactical games, the CrossFit with guns type stuff, going through the mud, and and they're out there, in the woods, hog hunting in the middle of the night and stuff with these,
And
because they'll
don't have a
say,
scratch.
I don't want to beat up my really nice one. I don't want to
Yeah.
screw it up. So I use this for all my training, and I use this for all my force on force or whatever. A lot of cops are using a force on force with sim rounds and stuff like that. You don't want to take a $2,000 scope into that situation, right?
Man,
So
but the beautiful thing is that shows you that like that thing can go out and get beat up and get like that's kind of like proof of concept in a way, you know?
yeah, I love those conversations. It's super fun. It's super fun.
Yeah, yeah. Are some decent amount of law enforcement picking up Swamp Fox
Yeah,
optics?
yeah.
Nice.
So there's 2 products that law enforcement's really picking up. The first one is the Arrowhead. These are in 1 to 6, 1 to 8, and 1 to 10 flavors.
Okay.
Um, Law enforcement that have these really like them. What we've learned that kind of sucks, is that a lot of departments are kind of behind the times, and they won't let their officers put anything higher than a 4 power on
Mm,
their patrol carbines, because anything more than that's like a sniper scope to them by
yeah,
definition.
it's murder.
So we're actually working on a really crazy 1 to 4 concept that's going to be like making 1 to 4s great again. Um, I don't want to say too much about it because we don't even have a prototype of it built yet, but the concept is nuts. It's,
Uh,
it's basically iBox, and iBox, and also iBox. I want all the iBox. If it's going to only go to 4x, I want it to be the fastest dang 4x you've ever seen.
is it
Right?
like possibly similar to like a can, some kind of can that may start with like a letter of the alphabet, like L, or I don't know, something like
Nope,
that.
nope, nope. It's gonna be no.
Okay.
It'll be traditionally laid out, but we're thinking
Okay.
like, so this is a 30 millimeter tube with a 24 millimeter piece of glass in it in the front, objective lens,
Yeah.
24 millimeter, right?
Hmm.
And then this is a 34 millimeter tube. So this is a wider tube. Look at this. Haha. There, you can kind of
Yeah.
see how this one is a wider tube. So you
Yeah.
get more glass in the front of this one.
Mm.
And then let's see in the back here.
More light, more.
Yeah. So that gives you just an idea of trying to get more eye box and more field of view. So what if we went with like a 40 millimeter main tube,
I
and it
love
was like as
anything
big as a
40 millimeter.
suppressor, right? But the glass
Yeah.
in it was super wide. The
Uh,
math says it would be super cool. The computer says it would be super cool. We have not built one yet, but we have
well,
ideas. Anyway,
so there's every possible benefit with that. I mean, more time behind the gun, because if you're out hunting or whatever, you got more light. You got more, like you said, more eye box, better field of view. But I mean that's a dope concept, and it's something that
I
would
think so.
look so unique. Like it would look unique on the gun, aesthetically. It would stick out big time in the market.
Nobody else is making rings or mounts that big. Fortunately, we make our own rings and mounts, so we can make them
Oh,
any size
nice.
we want.
Hell yeah.
The other law enforcement scope that I'm super proud of because it was my baby is this little guy. This is the Blade 1X,
Ooh.
my Blade
Okay.
Prism. This was
Really
my baby.
quickly, for
Yeah.
there's a couple people mentioning 1x prisms, and so I think I forgot who it was, but all y'all listening, and also all y'all when we're talking about the whole law enforcement thing, get your whole ACAB and all cops are terrible and everything. Like whatever your feeling is on that, that's fine. The idea is that they're out using it, bumping into shit with it, running rounds through it, qualifying with them. It's good shit. Ooh, that's dope. Oh, that's so
Amber, make me big screen.
yeah.
Make me the big
Sorry,
screen.
I was so
Yeah,
focused
so
on
that is kind of fun to play with. Oh, it's so hard to line up. That is amber for. Come on, come on, come on. I lost it. There it
oh,
is.
almost yeah.
That's amber for guys with color blindness. They can't see. They can't. This is one of those things where we actually listen to shooters. They can't see green and they can't see red because they're colorblind. They see amber great. We did
So
this for
that
them.
optic,
This
that's
works for
actually,
anybody's eyeballs. It doesn't matter if you're colorblind or not. Yeah,
or astigmatism,
yeah. But
right?
look from the front. See, I've got the kill flash on there.
Yeah.
Not giving away my position. Oh, there was a
Can't
little bit.
see.
It lined it up perfect. You can see it just a second. But
Oh
yeah,
wow.
kill flash on the front. Anyway,
I think
so
that was
this
also
was
a
my baby.
reflection from your
So
computer. Dude, that's dope. So for all you guys out there, that is a true 1x prism, and it's called
the blade,
the blade. Yeah.
both eyes open. Um, so this, I'll tell you I've told the story a couple different times, but when I first started, it was 2019. Nobody had heard of us. Nobody knew anything about the brand name, right? We were starting from scratch, man. It was startup city. I'm employee number 6, right? And
Hmm.
we're getting these cold calls and cold emails from cops going, "What do you guys got the duty grade? What do you got that's duty grade?" And I'm going, "Look, thank you for calling Swamp Fox and thank you for your inquiry, sir. But why the heck are you calling us? Like, we could be trash. I know we're not trash, but you don't know anything about us. We could be garbage. Why are you calling us asking for a law enforcement scope? Aren't you calling
Yeah.
Aimpoint Trigicon? Duh, right?" And they all said the same thing. They're like, "Yeah, we did call them and they told us to pound sand. They won't give us a deal and we can't afford their stuff." If you think
Dang.
that all the cops are out there running with $700, $800 scopes, you're dead wrong. Um, yeah, the prism helps with astigmatism so much. It's completely different than a red dot. You have an etched reticle that's physically in the scope on a piece of glass, just like the same technology that's in this. So this doesn't have to have illumination on. I can't really show you right now over the internet, but I usually shoot this without illumination on at all. I just use the reticle in black,
Yeah.
and it's fine. So,
That's
so
probably one of the coolest features, by the way. Like whether you're, yeah, Montana. This is the blade is is like very very similar to what you're mentioning. A true 1x. You can run it with both eyes open. Joe Morris, you mentioned the astigmatism. One of my good friends runs a 1x prism site, and that's like the only thing he can run. Um, there's a couple other things he mentioned, but it's leaving me now.
shine a light through it like this. You guys can see. Not really. Anyway, it's still in here. I can look through it and still see my reticle.
That's right.
So
It's the
anyway,
starburst thing.
yeah. So these guys, I'm like, all right, what are you looking for? What do you need? So we start talking to cops. This is in 2019. What
Mm-hmm.
do you need? What's going to work for you, and what's a deal breaker? What sucks? Just tell us what you want. And we talk to them all the time. We're still talking to the same officers, and they said a few things like, "Stop trying to sell us BDC reticles. We're not taking 400-yard shots in American law enforcement. They're just not. You know, they're just not." Um, and they wanted something that was really foolproof, like a built-in mount, so you don't have to buy the mount separate. And the mount's another $100, and then you got to mount it up, and you can get that wrong. So what we did was we just included the mount. The mount's built right into it, and then what you
Nice.
have is this is the battery cap, and you have a CR123A flashlight battery in here. It's the same battery
Nice.
that your weapon light uses, right? So
Yeah.
you can get those Surefire battery lights that are like the weapons grade, freaking hardened, shockproof batteries, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the problem, in my opinion. That's the problem with like AA and AAA. That's what they found out with EOTech. People think, oh, EOTech's conk out on you. EOTech's conk out on you randomly. It's not that the optics sucks. It's not that EOTech sucks. EOTech's great. What EOTech's problem was for many years, and they worked very hard on fixing this, was that recoil was shaking the optic around so much that it would kill the AA batteries in it.
Yeah.
It would shake up the innards of the battery until the battery died. Then you have to put in fresh batteries, and everybody's going, I didn't get the battery life that was promised. The batteries didn't last as long as I thought they would. Well, yeah, because you shook the crap out of it when you were shooting it, right? So CR123, yeah, CR123 is a rockin' battery because Surefire makes those weapon light batteries for it. This is built.
That's just a quick mention. A lot of guys will grab a Duracell CR123 or an Energizer CR123. Man, the difference between those and like the $2 Surefire, night and day. You will get the actual battery life that you were supposed to get out of your flashlight, your optic, so keep that in mind. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Right here, I've got spare Duracells that I put in the carry stuff. Yeah, they cost more. I wish we would put these in from the factory. We don't. I wish we would. Maybe one of these days I'll get my way on that. But yeah, they're pricey, but it does make a difference. I don't have an example of that tool with me, but Zach's talking about our little trick tool that we include with the scopes.
Yeah. He's mentioned that before too. And so funny thing is that I don't know if you guys have morale patches like we
do
kind of PVC patch. Yeah. So Zach has a company called Toxic Patch Co. And he makes the best patches, the craziest designs for the best price, hands down. So if you guys ever need some really crazy Swamp Fox patches, he's the guy to go to. And he's on Instagram. Like, if you log on, you'll probably find him somewhere.
Cool. Nice to meet you, Zach. Cool.
Yeah, man. And he's a big proponent of Swamp Fox.
So, yeah, I guess to finish up on the blade, we got these done basically, not to toot my own horn too much, but if it's on this optic, it's here because I wanted it here. Like, I can explain to you everything about this scope and why I want it this way, which is really freaking cool. Like, I'm super proud of this. Whatever happens to me, they'll never take this away from me. The MSRP on this is like $289. Law enforcement gets 30% off anything we make. If you're a cop, you got 30% off anytime you want, which makes this a $200 scope. A little bit more with tax and shipping and all that stuff, but it's about $200. It doesn't break. It's very clear. You can shoot it with both eyes open. It works with everybody's eyes. You have an adjustable ocular, right? So you can screw this little guy in and out.
Nice.
To adjust for your eyes. Pop quiz. Trigicon ACOG does not have an adjustable ocular. Who knows why? Why doesn't an ACOG have an adjustable ocular?
Because it's a fixed 3.5 power. I have no idea.
Yeah. Because they were built for RFP for military. Request for procurement. It's a pure military scope. If you don't have 20/20 vision, you're not infantry and you're not getting issued an ACOG. So it doesn't matter. You must have 20/20 vision to look through one of these things, according to the military doctrine for which it was built. If you don't have 20/20 vision, you're not looking through one. So that's why they don't have an adjustable ocular.
So Joe Morris, you're not getting an ACOG anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I've been wearing glasses since I was 13. So like,
yeah,
I can't be that much of a glass snob because you can put like a $3,000 scope in front of my eyes, and the last thing that the light's going to pass through before it hits my eyes is these $200 lenses from Target.
Man, that's a good. I haven't considered that. That's That's an interesting way to put it, because
Yeah.
that's basically your damn. I mean, is there a way to get glasses that work? Like, are there glasses that work better with optics and glass and shit like that? Probably a
I
stupid
wish.
question.
When I got these, the doc was like, "Hey, your astigmatism's getting worse, so I'm dialing up the astigmatism correction in your prescription." And I'm like, "Sweet, I'll be able to use red dots better," which is cool because I live in Texas, and you can talk about having red dots with your doctor, and it's no big deal here.
Yeah, right.
you
Yeah,
know, it's like,
different world.
do you have any guns in the house? Well, I have one in your office. Why do you ask? Uh,
Yeah, right. There's one with us right now.
so, but he's like, I'm gonna add some astigmatism to your optics prescription. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll be able to use red dots better. No, made no damn difference. I
Oh,
never see a red dot. I see like a bow tie or like a comet with a little tail on it. I never see a round dot with red.
yeah, I hear that. Like, people actually see, like, if you took like a comma in a sentence, and like blew it up and made it
Yeah.
fuzzy. That's kind of
Yeah.
what people
You
see.
know what you do? You pick a part of the comma to use as your point of aim. So for
Yeah,
me, it's like a comet, like kind of a round thing with a tail. I use
yeah.
the round thing to aim with, and I forget about the tail, and that gives me a little bit more accuracy. I
See
just
that
figure out ways. Some guys
that's
can't use it at
reasonable.
all. So
If so, when I look through a red dot, it's a little splotchy, but it's still kind of clean. And I realized that when like it looks the same through my aim point, through my PA, through my through EOTech. Well, EOTech's not so much; it's kind of different. But
yeah,
through
EOTech's
most
different tech.
yeah.
Yeah,
How different is it?
very different. So EOTech, there's a holosun that's got like a big window, and then the Vortex has the UH1, which I really like. By the way, they did a fantastic job on that. Not to pimp out a rival company, but the truth is the truth. They really got that sucker figured out. That's a great optic. Also, somebody mentioned magnifiers. Vortex 3x micro magnifier. Get it. Just get the 3x Vortex micro magnifier and go shooting and be happy. They have got
Mm,
it so scienced out. Those guys really know what they're doing. But the holographic technology is different than red dot technology. So here it's very simple. We have a little emitter in the back that's an LED. It's the same kind of thing that you would see on like my computer monitor has a little LED that lights up when it's on to say, hey, the monitor's on, right? Same kind of
yeah.
thing. It's a light emitting diode. You have that. You have a curved piece of glass in front that's got some coating on it, and it reflects it back to your eye. It's very simple. The holographic sights have a laser in them, which is different than a light emitting diode, and they have like a holographic sheet that's inside of it, and the laser hits the sheet, and that projects onto the glass, and it's like 3 times as complicated and way more expensive. And
Wow.
we're not doing that yet. It would be neat to develop one someday, but we don't have access to the holographic technology at this time. We're going to make some
Wow.
cool red dots. We're going to make some really cool red dots and green dots, but the holographic
Yeah.
stuff is a different animal.
I will say you guys have already achieved that. You definitely have made a like big splash in the industry, and I mean, I'm kind of a I wouldn't say I'm a snob. Out of the three type of people that you mentioned, I am like a hybrid between one and three. I'm always looking for deals, but and I share them with the guys with the community, and I'm like, hey, here's this so and so at this place for this price, and because they're all always building something. They're all see you, Swamp Dog. Thank you for stopping by, dude.
Hey, Swamp Dog,
Um,
peace.
they're yeah, and guys, Swamp Dog is the one that kind of brought us together. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Cody's a
I
great dude.
appreciate you.
You
Yeah,
rock,
man.
Cody.
Hell yeah, really good guy. Great channel. If you guys in the chat haven't subbed to Swamp Dog's channel, you need to because he's awesome. But yeah, I'm kind of a hybrid between one and three, if there is such a thing. And this just because Zach Carr has this super chat here. Thank you for the super chat, brother. And I'll show you that this is the
Oh,
actually
oh, oh,
glow in the dark, and you
me
could
gusta.
get them for Well, we could talk offline. Let's just say it may be less than the cost of a Kingslayer for a good amount.
Cool,
Yeah,
man.
but yeah. Any anything else? Any new products you want to hit on before we wrap it up? Or
So I saw DB Cooper over here was saying that the 3x magnifier will help with the astigmatism thing. That
Mhm.
is because so astigmatism and red dots, your eyes having a hard time, the cornea of your eyes having a hard time perceiving collimated light, which you can, if you have a hard time sleeping some night, Wikipedia up collimated light reflex optic, which is what a red dot really is. And
Mhm.
that's like a whole freaking like, rabbit hole for you to chase down some night.
Yeah,
When you put a 3x magnifier in front of it, it's a 3x magnifier is basically a 3x prism scope without a reticle in it. So now you're
that's
not
what I
really looking
thought.
just through a red dot anymore. You have a 3x prism scope that's looking at the red dot and it's collecting the light for you and presenting it to your eye in a different way. And that's why it cleans up your astigmatism, but only with the 3x magnifier in place. Now, what
Would it
I
do the
want to
same with like a
do,
5X?
yeah, what I want to do one day, dreams of Mike, is make a tiny little LPVO, like a tiny, tiny little 1:4 with like a
Yeah.
1-inch tube that's like this big, and it's going to be super light for the lightweight guys that want a very, very lightweight. Like they have like a Night Force NX8, and they're counting
Mhm.
every ounce. They want a tiny little scope, tiny little
Yeah.
1:4, right? Then what we do is we take the reticle out of it and we change the erector to go from 1:4 to 2:4, and you put it behind a red dot and it becomes an adjustable magnification magnifier.
Ooh,
How cool would that be?
nice.
And you can go from 2x to 4x on your magnifier looking through a red dot.
That
That's
would be
one
a
of my
game
dreams.
changer.
Yeah, how cool would that be? It could happen.
That yeah, that would be a game changer.
But
Because I mean that.
I think the 3x magnifiers are so well scienced out. I don't see us really developing one of our own because we
Yeah,
could spend all the time and money developing it and testing it and breaking all the prototypes and all of that stuff and all that effort. And then it's going to be, if we're lucky, it's just as good as the Vortex that's already on the market right now anyway.
yeah,
So like I'm more interested in finding little niches, finding little areas that other optics companies are not really servicing because they're not listening to
yeah.
shooters like I am. Like
Like
making
gaps in the market,
making a
right?
1x prism with an amber reticle in it for guys that are colorblind. Who else is doing that? Nobody else is doing that,
Yeah.
right?
The
Little
only
things
thing
like
I've
that
seen
where
is
you
gold.
know, yeah,
Yeah, and that's super rare to find. But that's what I think is cool is like it seems like you're identifying like gaps in the market
yeah.
and then filling it and doing pretty damn well off of it.
We work our butts off.
I
We
can
really
imagine.
work our butts off. But
Yeah,
we're a small team, but we're a tight team. I love my job. I love, you know, I love the guys that I work with. They're badass. They're great dudes. I'm lucky. I'm super lucky that I get to do this.
hell yeah,
How many
man.
of you guys would like to work with rifle scopes all day, every
Oh,
day?
dude,
How
that'd
did
be
I get so
awesome.
freaking lucky?
I do definitely miss like working in the firearm industry and just playing with gun. Well, let me say it differently. Being able to handle and like mess around. I guess playing with guns sounds bad, but you know
I
what I
know. I
mean.
know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, playing with fun toys.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to give chat kind of a little quick view through. So this is their website and a bunch of their products here. So the Liberty and Justice are some of the red dots that we talked about. Um, are you guys kind of trying to scale out of the Kingslayer for or
Kingslayer, we are not planning on discontinuing it anytime soon, but it's definitely going to be, it's going to be like the budget option for. I already would say, I wouldn't recommend Kingslayer for everyday carry because it has a
Mhm.
4-hour auto shut off. Um,
Mm,
and so after 4 hours without a button push, it'll shut itself off to save battery life, which sucks for everyday carry. So I wouldn't do that. So it's like a
yeah,
range queen, starter optic. It's great for like, you know, your competition guns and stuff, but it's not a carry dot. Liberty and Justice we built to be law enforcement grade, fits in a law enforcement Safariland holster. You know, we made sure that the holster compatibility was there, because cops can't just go get a custom Kydex holster. They're locked into that Safariland SLS or ALS system, right? So we had to make sure that both Liberty and Justice fit in cop holsters. They're made out of 7075. You know, it's the same material as your AR-15 receiver is made out of. They're hard coat anodized, you know. See the battery tray in the top there? You don't have to pull it off to change batteries and re-zero. You just stick a T10 wrench in that little thing, you twist it off, and the battery comes out the top. So, you know, you don't have to re-zero when you change out batteries. Real world battery life is about 1 year. Yes, I know Holosun says 5 years on the side of their box. I know they say that. I'm going to tell you guys how it really is. Change out your batteries every Christmas, or do it on your birthday, just to be sure. Will the battery last more than a year? Probably, but it's cheap. Change it out. Make sure, you know. And we have those in red and green. The greens are really nice. The greens, I like the greens. They're easier on my astigmatism, and they're a little brighter. I wish I could show you one, but it's on a Beretta APX right now. Oops. We don't have any colorblind ones yet, but we are looking into it. Again, it would probably be amber, would be the color. Holosun has done some amber, and Trijicon has done some amber in the past. Their Trijicon one's outdated now. But I would like to do
their gold, did they call it?
Yeah. The nice thing about us, and I'm not disparaging Trijicon. Trigicon's amazing. Like those guys, you know, they're legendary. Right? They're legendary. But if you look through our stuff, you'll see that the glass is very clear. You know, I'm going to hold this way up close to my camera. Turning off the little ring light. You see that? You see how clear that is? Compared to an RMR, when you look through an RMR, the whole world is blue. You know, they gate it so aggressively to help with their brightness. You look through the RMR and everything's blue. You look through ours and it's actually clear, and it's still daylight bright. I'm really proud of that. So I'm not trashing Trijicon. They're the standard that everybody else is trying to get to. Everybody's trying to be like them. But our glass, you know, our dots don't make the whole world turn blue. So we got that going for us.
Yeah. Dude, that's cool shit, man. And honestly, even like me not being colorblind, I would still rock an amber reticle. That thing's awesome. And one thing I want to go back and hit on is the prismatic optics with an etched reticle. Like we always talk about like preparation and, you know, creating, you know, like almost like a homestead that's self-sustainable where your water,
that's the dream, isn't it?
Like, where you don't have to depend on, you know, suckling on the government teat for there's the Reese's
leftover Halloween candy. Who's with me?
Yeah, right. Hey, it's only the second, so if it was Christmas and you were eating leftover Halloween candy, that's a different thing. But what's up, Techno? What's up, Something Original?
Hey, Something Original says, Something Original, are you saying that the green battery life is worse? I want to message this guy. Are you saying the green is worse due to lasers and diodes needing to warm up more on startup and maintaining brightness? Because that was the conventional wisdom. Yes, especially on lasers. Mm-hmm. On our LEDs, we are finding that the green gives us a battery life boost, if that's what you're talking about. It's counterintuitive. What? Yes, the green gives you more battery life than the red. No kidding. I don't know why. I can't explain it to you.
Damn, so there's just kind of like no reason you guys just have been getting more
times are changing. It just the technology changes so fast. He was right 2 years ago.
Damn. Have you noticed that in other manufacturers too? Or
and the other thing is the green is brighter to your eyes. So you use a lower brightness level to get the contrast that you need. You don't have to run it on max blast. Because you're using it at a lower level, you get even more of a battery boost. because you didn't have to crank it up to setting 10.
Damn. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
good point, especially in daylight. That's but what I was going to say is, kind of being in that, like, if the world were to ever fall to shit, kind of conversation,
Good
um,
thing that could
we're
never
not
happen in the
always,
good old USA.
never, we're safe, guys. Collect your stimulus check. Just kidding. So, like, if there were a day where none of us had batteries and you still needed to run your gun, um, mind
Yeah.
blown. That prismatic optic with an etched reticle is priceless. You'll always have an optic, no matter what. I love that about that style. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you said,
you
sorry, go
know, I hate speculating that there could be a time when your battery dies and you go to Walgreens and you go to Amazon.com and there are no CR123s available anywhere. Like, I hate speculating that, right? But what have we seen this year? I mean, I was at the Buc-ee's gas station in Houston the other day and they were out of cups. There wasn't any cups to put your soda in because
ahead.
of the logistical problems that we've got going on right now. They're going to write history
Yeah.
books about this stuff. There's going to be books that are come out later explaining why nobody could buy plywood in the year 2021 because no one
Yeah.
really understands it right now. So
Yeah.
who's to say that batteries aren't next?
Yeah.
And the sad part is
Even
that there's people whose lives depend on that. There's people who have defibs in their chests and they have, hearing aids and stuff like that. And like a battery is a big deal to them. But it could
yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, shit. They're dialysis.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like so many different things. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of diabetics that went off of the vial and syringe. They got on a pump,
Yeah.
that runs on Bluetooth on their phone. And, like, man, there's so much shit. And how many ships are we looking at, like, off the port of LA and all over the country where boats just cannot get in there to get goods,
Well,
to the
I'll tell you
destination.
straight up. So Swamp Fox is headquartered in Denver, right? They're in Inglewood, which is a suburb of Denver. I'm in
Okay.
Houston, so I usually work remote. I fly up to
Mhm.
Denver a few times a year and have meetings, and we make content and we do videos and stuff and have a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But I live in Houston, so I'm in H Town right now, and the port of Galveston right now is absolutely overflowing with overflow from that Long Beach problem. They have sent these ships all the way from California down through the Panama Canal. Oh gosh. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry, China will sell it to us. Um,
Yeah.
that's how that's going to go. That's how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, but they'll send the ships all the way through the Panama Canal, and they'll unload here in Galveston rather than going to California now. It's crazy. So, woo,
Just about
Opie
a
big
hundred stick.
defender. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's a high roller.
Dude,
You're not wrong. Like, what's the shelf life on a CR 2032? Years, right?
yeah, probably. Let's see. Um, I just so you guys know, there are videos out there that compare the uh, the power and the lifespan on batteries. So specifically for, like, rifle, shotgun, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
and the
it might not be
Amazon
a bad
one,
idea to stock up now.
yeah. Now, you guys know how I feel about Amazon. I canceled my Amazon Prime account. I think they're evil and all that stuff. But I did buy a shitload of these Amazon batteries, so please forgive me. Um, yeah, I don't see an expiration or anything.
Uh,
This,
I think the shelf life on them is 5 or 7 years, something like that. It'd be a minute
yeah,
before they go bad, especially if
which,
you store them at a reasonable temperature. I would think.
yep, yep, definitely. 50% humidity, reasonable temperature. Um, And then if you throw one in and it sucks or doesn't work, then just pop it out and throw another one in. If
Yeah,
you get 100 of them, damn, you may as well.
yeah.
Um,
They're not going to get cheaper or easier to get, kids.
we may be in a situation like this where we are in a world of complete rule of law. Everything is fine. We're all okay. We're all eating, and we still can't get the shit that we need. And so shit's falling apart, but on the surface, consumerism is still driving us to health. So
Yeah.
we shall see. But dude, I so appreciate you coming on, man. This is a cool conversation, man. I love Swamp Fox. I cannot wait to get my first Swamp Fox after this conversation. So I was gonna just buy, because when we were talking before, I was like, I'm just gonna buy a Kingslayer because I've been looking at it like forever, like for over a year. But after this conversation, I'm probably gonna get a Liberty, maybe a Justice.
All
But
right.
I like the idea of the larger window, but maybe for
And
carry.
yeah, it's really interesting to me because of course I have all of them, right? Like I've got all of them. And
Yeah.
I yay, yay, me for mayor. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, right? um, so um so I have all of these, and I try to shoot. I shoot once a week usually, and try to maintain
Mhm.
proficiency with everything. It's really interesting. So if I put in a lot of work with this little guy, the Sentinel at 16 millimeters,
Yeah.
and then I switch to my Sig 320 X5, which is my gamer gun that has the Justice on it. It's like
Mhm.
it's like a video game cheat code. It's so much easier with a big window. It's like,
Big screen.
oh God, I'm so fast. I'm the fastest
Yeah.
guy ever. So it really does matter. The window size really does matter. What's really funny is even at this size for RMSC, this window is really tall. If you compare this one with the original Shield that we named the
Mhm.
footprint after, the Shield RMS and RMSC,
Yep.
they have a really their window is not as tall and it's not as easy to track. So buy ours
Yeah, it
instead.
looks taller.
So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, but a
Yeah.
big window does make a big difference. It really does. It really
Yeah.
does.
Buy shit from them because they're awesome. And they come on small channels that do streams like this that have, 2,000 subs. So
I love this stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm a nut because I worked all day today. I worked till 6 p.m. on Swamp Fox stuff. I worked on my own our channel's YouTube stuff. I've got a YouTube video that I'm working on how to sight in your rifle. That's going to
nice.
be popping soon. I worked on that today till 6. Put chicken on the grill, had dinner, and here I am. It's now 10:30 p.m. my time, and I'm
Yeah.
still at it, right? Because I love this stuff. Can't get enough of it. So,
Dude,
but I
go
do
ahead and
need I do
shout
need to
out.
call it a night. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're good, man. Shout out your stuff where people can find you on YouTube, and you'll gain a bunch of subs.
Yeah, it's Swamp Fox Optics everywhere you look. So swampfoxoptics.com is the website. Swamp Fox Optics is the YouTube channel. Swamp Fox Optics is the Instagram. Swamp
Hell yeah.
Fox Optics is the Facebook. And it's all one word. Swamp Fox, one word. So Aegis, thanks for putting that up there because he's got it as Swamp Dash Fox. And if you don't know what the Swamp Fox is, it's named after Francis Marion. Francis Marion was if you've seen The Patriot with Mel Gibson, he is Francis Marion and a couple of other guys. They kind of mishmashed them together. But he was the father of American guerrilla warfare. The British chased him all up and down the Carolinas and could never catch him. And they called him the Swamp Fox. And he frustrated the living crap out of the British, and his militiamen sort of bought time for Washington and his real army of Continentals to get their act together and survive long enough to eventually win the war. So we named the company after him. So that's what a Swamp Fox is, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just won over a lot more people here. I'm hearing people ask me to invite you to our Discord, which is a place where you may be able to speak more freely. It gets dark there. It gets crazy. I call it the hole in the ground below the outhouse of the internet. So,
Oh God.
um,
Oh God.
yeah,
I'm
but
afraid.
yeah, but dude, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, make sure we patronize great companies like this, and hit up Swamp Fox all over the internet. And thank you guys. We do give every guest the honor to name the episode, though, so you get to name it whatever you want. You can get as nasty and creative as as you want.
Yeah, I'm tempted to put a "Let's Go Brandon" meme in there. I shouldn't
Dude,
though. I shouldn't though.
I could just name it LGBT. Let's go, Brandon team.
Smallpox. So let's do optics talk without the BS, or optics talk no
Nice.
BS. That's what I'm
I
all about.
like it. Hell yeah. I'll do it right now. Awesome. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And I'll see y'all later. I may be going on Crump's stream in a little bit too for the Virginia election stuff, or maybe on Discord on voice chat. So thank you all.
Check my
I'll see
dudes
y'all
and
later.
say, yeah. See you guys.
Hell yeah. Later.